my channel. My name is Laura, and today we are doing Junk Journal July, and the prompt for day 24 is very vintage. So yeah, when I think of very vintage, I mean, to me it's like very old. So anyway, so we're going to go to our page, which is, we're working backwards in this book. So we are going to do this page 24. And I'm going to open it up so it makes it a little bit flat. So my idea is to use some vintage stuff on here. I did grab out a few things. I have stuff here in these folders, and I labeled it vintage. So I pulled out some of these die cuts that I had, and then some of these papers here. It's upside down. But I have these strips that I felt were vintage, brownish color. I pulled out my words. I thought this was cool. It says she believed she could, so she did. And then just other words are in there. And then I also pulled out this one, which is vintage, and I have all these little bits and pieces in there. I also did my tea dyeing, as I showed you. Actually, it's coffee dyed papers, which I could definitely use on the page. Those are the ones I made yesterday, not my Winnie the Pooh. But these things are still sitting on my desk. So we'll probably use some of this paper here. And today I was in Barnes & Noble, and looking for Daphne Diaries. I did not find it yet. Yes, I keep looking, but I did get this one, which is Somerset Studio. And I saw a few things in here that I thought would be great for the page for today. So let me just flip through this a little bit just to share what's in here. And yeah, so some really cool stuff in this magazine, and I saw something in here that I want to use on the page, but I don't know if it's gonna fit. So we're just gonna go through this really quickly. The book of the month. I did pick up 2 new books at Barnes & Noble today. So this kind of likes vintage feel to it. This is not. But I saw something in here that I wanted to use, and now I can't find it. So, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Okay, where the hell is it? I'm sorry. I saw something, because that's why I bought the book. And I don't know if it's gonna fit. So there's like lots of colorful stuff. This is too bright. It's coming up. All right, so that looks vintagey to me. All right, I want to pull this page out. I can't find it. Okay, so here we go. Keep going. It's coming up. Here it is. Okay. Look at that. Now, my mind was thinking, this looks vintage to me, and I'm going to pull it out because this is when I was searching today. I want to use this thing somehow on the page. It looks very vintage, but it looks big. All right, so my page is only 4 inches across. I can do a half or make it smaller. All right, so this is what my intention was to do with this thing. And I'm thinking, I don't really like these little handy things in here. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to cut these little boxes out. And I think I'm going to do half, because half would fit, and make it smaller. So that's what I'm going to do with this page, and I will be back and share what I do with this. Okay, so I cut this dresser out, and I cut a piece of paper 3 3/4 by the height of my book. So I have 2 pieces of paper. My idea, and I folded this in half. So my idea is to cut these windows out. I'm going to cut out this window and this window, this window and this window, and this window and this window. And because it's too tall, I'm going to chop it down, and I'm going to bring this up to here and see what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave the windows in the middle intact because that's going to have the fold. And I'm going to glue this to here. So, yeah, let me figure this out and I will be back. Okay, so with an X-Acto knife, I was able to cut out the window. So I'm going to use this as a template to cover this window because I don't like the images on here. And I think I'm just going to do a black image. I'm going to cut black cardstock and cover that up. Leave this open as a window and cut this one open as a window. So that's what I'll do, and I'll be back. So I have black cardstock. I'm just going to use my scissor. Oh crap, I don't have the scissor here. Oh, here it is. I'm going to cut this out, and just covering this out like this. I'm using it as a template. All right, so now I have this piece, this black piece, which will cover this thing up, which will be perfect. It has to be folded in half. So I'm going to put a score line in the middle so it folds here, and it's going to cover up that image thing. And then I can put my own image in that, or write, or journal, whatever I want. So that's, it's coming along. So here we go. Oh my God, this is a lot of thinking. Anyway, I cut this vintage type lace that I had, and I'm going to sew it. I'm going to sew it to these 2 pieces of paper. So I'm going to sew on this side across, and then I'll sew this to this side. And then once it's sewn, I'm hoping that I will be able to flip it and see if it flips. So let me go to my sewing machine and do that. Okay, so now I have this. There's 2 pages stuck together now, and it could flip like that, right? Now I'm taking this thing and I folded it in half, and my idea is like, how am I going to get this into the book? And my idea was to have this like flip back and forth. So I'm going to open it up here, and I'm going to sew in the middle of this. I think I'm going to sew in the middle down here, and then I'm going to I'm going to glue this to this, and I'm hoping that this will work and it will flip. So let me try to do that, and I will be back. Okay, so now I have it sewn in the middle here. It does flip this way, and this flips this way. Now I'm not liking how it looks like on the other side. So I'm going to take this new ribbon that I have that looks vintage to me, and I'm going to sew this on to cover up that line and also cover up this line. So I'm going to take that to the sewing machine. And what I'm also going to do is, after I sew all that together, I'm going to use Fabri-Tac to glue this to this side. And hopefully it will smash it together, and it will make a window here and a window here and a little window there. So, yeah, I'm trying to push it down. I might have to have it sit for a while once I glue it, because it's still popping open like that. So I'm hoping that once I use the Fabri-Tac, it will glide together. So let's do that, and I'll be back. So here goes. I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac to glue this to the other piece. So let's just do this. I might have to use some clips to make it stay. All right, so I'm going to glue that to this. I might have to cut some of this off. Let's see if we got this to go. Lay flat. It's bulging in the middle. I'm getting it to go. Move it a little bit. Put more glue in the middle here. I might use a clip. Gonna use a clip to hold it until it sticks. And then on the bottom I need to glue that as well. I'm gonna glue this piece. It's coming along. Okay, let me use another binder clip to hold that in place. I had to cut it down. The shelving was too long for my book. And this is not matching up. So just like moving it around to make it match. Okay. And when I sewed this on, this strip here, I only did one side because this is the only side that's going to show, because this side is going to be glued into my book. So that's going to be glued in, and I have my vintage lace here, and then I have these windows that I'm taking this off. It should be glued by now. All right, so I have this vintage chest thing that I can put something in the window here, and then it flips over and I could put something in the window here. So that's how it's going to sit in my book. And yeah, it's not the best job here, but it will do, I guess. So there you go. All right, so I will be back to decorate it a little bit more and then also glue it into my book. So on the back of this magazine has these footprints. I'm going to cut these out, and I thought this would be great for vintage. And on the very back of this page, I'm going to put the shoes on the bottom and put a quote on here, something like something to do with steps, in the steps of my life or something like that. I thought that would be cool. So I will be back. So looking through this magazine, I saw a whole bunch of dresses, and I was like, oh, this would be awesome to put in my book. So I didn't want to cut out any of these because they weren't really my style. But I wanted to make a vintage type dress type thing. So I cut out myself out of my own construction paper. And this is what I came up with. So yeah, I just used my vintage paper that I had in my vintage thing. I used the ribbon that matches this thing here. I used the lace that I had in my stash. And I put a button over here, and I put the lace down here. Yeah, so I just fussy cut the dress, and I made it myself, and I tied a little ribbon around the dress, and then I also used a pen and did a faux stitching around the edge. So I'm going to put this on the back. And then I found a really cool quote in my vintage thing. It says, beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. So I'm going to put that on here. So that will look really cute. So that's how it's going to open. When I open up my book, I'm going to see this first. And then I'm going to work on the inside now. Okay, my page is complete. I did put this a little reminder, remember, little tab on here. I also added the word vintage on the top, and when it opens up, it goes like this. And you can see that there are images that I used from the Dollar Tree in there. And it says focus on you. And on this side it says family, and this I put houses there. And it says be happy, be bright, be you. And then I put this trim that I cut off from the Dollar Tree. It was actually a frame that I cut into 4 pieces, and then I spread it out, and it was not sticking, so I used the tiny attacher to attach it on. And then this thing, this frame thing, it actually flips this way, and it also, I wrote focus on you again, and then you can see the houses on this side as well, because there's peekaboo thing. And on the top it says she believed she could, so she did. So yeah, so that's it. See how it keeps popping up? I had to staple it there. Yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I really love how the dress came out. So yeah, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you for watching. Bye.